This is a special presentation of Victoria Generals Baseball.
Sixth time in 9 days, a matchup from last year's TCL semifinals has delivered us every kind of ball game you can think of, from historic blowouts to walk-off finishes. And oh, by the way, only one side has been on the right side of every matchup in this stretch. Tonight, the Victoria Generals look to complete their early season revenge against the ball club that eliminated them one summer ago. It's the Generals and the Seguin Vermonsters once again for the sixth time in 9 days. And all the action can be seen, as always, right here, exclusively on TCL TV. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Party Box here at Riverside Stadium. My name is Max Cepeda. I will once again be your guide as the 12-6 Victoria Generals currently sit at a magic number of 3, as they possess the best record in the league and need only 3 more victories or 2 more victories or 1 more Baton Rouge Rougarou loss to secure the #1 seed in the TCL playoffs come the last week of July and first week of August. The Generals were able to get one step closer to that #1 seed last night with a 4-2 victory against the Seguin River Monsters. It was their 5th consecutive victory against Seguin, and more importantly, a unique stretch between these two specifically in this ballpark. In the history of this matchup, in the 3-year history since Seguin became a franchise back 2 years ago in 2022, the Seguin River Monsters against the Victoria Generals in this ballpark, the Generals lead the all-time series in this ballpark 14-2. Only twice has Seguin been able to come into this ballpark and even win one game. The first time they did was back in their original inaugural game, their very first game in existence, back in late May of 2022. That was the first time they won in this ballpark, and the last time they did was in Game 3 of last year's TCL postseason that sent Seguin to their first ever TCL championship game and their first postseason series victory. As for the lineups and pitchers for both sides, it's the exact same matchup that we saw a Friday ago between these two, as Ben Schultz and Ryan Jester will once again clash between each other. For Ben Schultz, no surprise that he's still a major part of this Generals rotation. He has very much pitched like it and is coming off an incredible 7 innings of 1 hit or of 1 run, 4 hit baseball against these Seguin River Monsters, and of course was a huge aspect of their historic 18-2 blowout victory out in Smokey Joe Williams Field last week. And for Ryan Jester, certainly looking for a bounce back, to say the least, as he was on the wrong end of that contest. Gave up 4 runs in 3 2/3 innings, 3 hits, 4 walks, and 3 punchouts against these Generals back on June 15th. So looking to see if he can possibly bounce back against this red-hot offense. But really, for the most part, both lineups are not necessarily a whole lot different for Seguin. Orlando Samaniego is back in the starting lineup, batting 5th. Logan Hamm tries to get back into a rhythm. Hunter Hamm is out of the defensive shift entirely. He's now a designated hitter. And as for Victoria, a whole lot of guys getting the night off tonight. No Riley Bender, no Jacob Sanchez, no Hal Perez, and no Ryan Beatty. And Mario Mendoza Jr. just recently added to the roster as well. He will at least be on the bench tonight. We'll see if he possibly makes a debut appearance off the bench later. But Mark Henning is in the lineup. Josh Arquette is back in the lineup. Jake Weaver is back. And oh yeah, the Stephen F. Austin backstop, Brock Knorr will be behind the backstop to catch for Ben Schultz. As you can see, the starting lineup currently being introduced right now here at Riverside. We're going to take a quick break before we come back, as when we come back, we'll give you the full starting lineups and first pitch here on TCL TV. But as we take a break, here's a quick look at the current standings across the Texas Collegiate League. As the current live look, as you can see, of the current TCL standings as they sit today. A little bit of an updated format with our standing screen than normally in past broadcasts. The Games Back feature has now been added to every single team, and if you're wondering with the Louisiana division what the parentheses stand for, that is the league-wide Games Back. So while Baton Rouge may be in the lead in the Louisiana division, they are still a game and a half back of these Victoria Generals, as their magic number currently sits at 3 to clinch the #1 seed across the TCL for next August's playoffs. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for tonight's Seguin River Monsters, who are currently coming into tonight the defending champs at 4-13. Not a whole lot of changes. Obviously, Logan Ham and Hunter Ham still in the lineup. Hunter Ham, as I mentioned in the pregame, moving from third base to the designated hitter spot, but still the bottom third of the order is still basically the same. The only major change, Orlando Samaniego returning to this order, and possibly for good luck charm, considering how well he performed when this team was back in Victoria for the 2 games that they played here, even though they lost both, as this lineup will be the one to face Ben Polischultz, the man who has so far been unreal as a Victoria General starter, the freshman out of Blaine Community College, number 6 in the league in ERA at 2.40, 2-0 record in 15 innings pitched, 2 starts, 5 walks, 16 punch-outs, as the first batter he faced will be Dakota Howard, and that one's on the outside half for ball 1, and we are underway here on this Friday night. The free ticket night sponsored by our good friends at Zen Water. So that one's just lined down the left field line. And it's quickly 1-1. Same series as across the league as last night. The Bombers are out in Southwest Louisiana against Lake Charles in the battle of the 3-1-3 rivalry between the Rougarou and Cane Cutters. 1-1's just on that outside half. Changes defensively for the Generals in comparison to last night. Brock Norris behind the dish tonight. Josh Arquette over at third base. Nickens moving from left field to second base. It's that one as he found their foul ball, and it's 2-2, an even count. And Jake Weaver now sitting in left field, and Travis Bragg moving from the designated hitter spot to right field. The only 2 positions the defending TCL Player of the Week has played all summer. 2-2 from Polischultz. Outside corner called, strike 3. And Ben Polischultz continuing to maul down on this River Monsters offense like he did a week ago in Seguin, and it's 1 quick out here in the first. Howard going back to last night. Now a combined 0 for 5 to begin this series. It's now Patrick McClellan back at second base once again for the Stars. So that one is a high fly ball out to right. Bragg is coming in, but it's in a shallow right field, and that will drop right in front of him and go behind Bragg, but coming back to get him in insurance is Cameron Nickens, the veteran outfielder. So Nickens, who's playing second base tonight, having to come and rescue Bragg as he misjudged the baseball in the high sun. And because then it will fall as an innocent, just high-dropping single in the first base run of the night for the Stars. So now Rashawn Galloway. An opportunity here. Galloway went 2 for 4 a night ago, including collecting an RBI double off the top half of that left field wall just down the line. First pitch he sees is fouled off the end of the bat. Or strike 1, 0-1. Polischultz, we mentioned a week ago in Seguin, and that 18-2 historic victory over these River Monsters, going 7 innings, giving up 1 earned run and 7 hits, 2 walks, 6 punch-outs. In that outing that was highly instrumental for Victoria's largest road regular season victory in 7 years. That one's outside, 1-1. As for Galloway, his story has been mentioned numerous times. He is arguably, without a shadow of a doubt, the best offensive player and a surefire all-star for this upcoming TCL All-Star game, which will take place at Smokey Joe Williams in 2 weeks' time, as that one is on the outside half for strike 2. Another great breaking ball from Ben. Ben, known for the most part for not being a major strikeout guy in his collegiate career, as sort of his freshman year this past season out in College Station at Blaine Community. 1-2 is down in the dirt. Great block there by Nor. He loses it, but he still can't find it, and because of that, it will be ruled as a pass ball most likely. As while it was a pitch in the dirt, Nor took a whole lot of time to find it. And because of that, McClellan able to advance 90 feet. So on the pass ball, after singling with 1 out here in this first inning, Patrick McClellan now sits in scoring position with just 1 out, but a 2-2 count here for Ben. Here it comes. Upstairs, just above the letters. One of the better weather nights we have had in this ballpark so far this season. 85 degrees at first pitch. Partly cloudy skies. Only feels like 92, which is one of the lower feels like temperatures we have had. Maybe the lowest feels like temperature we have had this entire summer at first pitch. Payoff. Breaking ball that could have broken in the zone, but it will be a routine ground ball for Cam Nickens. And easy out number 2, but Patrick McClellan now advances another 90 feet and sits 90 feet away from the dish. So a great sacrifice there on the part of Galloway as he just advances the runner. And now Logan Ham, the veteran TCL player from a summer ago with Acadiana, now wearing the blue and green. Having a rough 0-for-4 night in his second game of his TCL comeback year. That first pitch is just below the zone, 1-0. Logan Ham, a junior out of Lamar, previously at UH. Bridge City native. So that one's at the letters and calling strike 1. Last summer with the Cane Cutters went 0-1 with a 1.22 ERA on the mound in 12 appearances. Also was 11 for 83. Had a batting average of 133 though last summer. As that one's grounded, as that might be just over Schultz's head. Will be a difficult play and there will be no throw. An RBI infield single on a great hop by Logan Ham. His second RBI of the young summer, and it's 1-0 Stars early. Great job by Ham getting on top of the fastball as he hit it on a one-hopper that hit just right over the mound. No shot for anybody in the infield, and Nickens thinking he had an opportunity to claim it, but he couldn't. So we'll go down as an RBI single for Ham, and it's 1-0. That's inside for strike 1 to Orlando Samaniego. Samaniego, who was not in last night's lineup. A unusual term for the traditionally good infielder out of El Paso and the UTRGV Vaquera. 1-1 the count here. Samaniego so far this summer in 11 games, batting .256 with 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, as that one's foul. But is number 5 in the league in punch-outs at the plate with 17. And has also committed 4 defensive errors, 4 of the 36 committed by the Seguin defense. Easily the most in this league, as that's a swing and a miss for strike 3. And a big bounce back for Ben Schultz. However, he gives up the RBI single from Logan Ham after Patrick McClellan's single and pass ball advancing. And we go bottom 1. Generals will be down early, but their offense will get their first chance when we come back here on TCL TV. 1-0 to the defending champs.
Harder, better, faster, stronger. Work it harder, make it better. Do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour. Work is never over. Work it harder, make it better. Do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour. Work is never over. Work it harder, make it better. Do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour. Work is never.
Back here for the bottom of the first inning. That is your Victoria Generals starting lineup, the best record in the league at 12-6. Not a whole lot of changes. Mark Henning now in the lineup. Josh Arquette back, so is Brock Knorr. Really, all 6 through 9 is very much going to be new, at least for today, but 1 through 5 very much still the same, with Cam Nickens moving from the outfield to second base, as we mentioned earlier. Ryan Jester on the mound to start things tonight for the Stars, as that one's outside ball 1 to Damian Whitfield, the star center fielder from Atlanta. Jester 0-1 with a 5.19 ERA in 3 starts, 8 2/3 innings, 6 hits allowed, 7 walks, or 10 walks, 7 punch-outs. This is quickly a 2-0 count here in favor of Whitfield. Last outing against these Generals, mentioned through 3 2/3 innings, gave up 4 runs, 3 hits, 4 walks, and 3 punch-outs he collected. Back on June 15th, the Saturday game, in which the Generals did not lead at all, but were able to come back and win in that bottom of the 9th inning thanks to a go-ahead 2-out, 2-strike bottom of the 9th RBI single by Jacob Sanchez. 2-1's a swing and a miss. As Whitfield swings in the dirt, 2-2. Whitfield, the 9 to go. Went 1 for 3 with an RBI and run scored. That RBI coming on a bases-loaded walk in the 2nd and 9 to go, and scoring the game-tying run in the bottom of the 7th. 2-2 from Jester. Grounded over to the right side, is there to make the play. Is the first baseman Galloway. He dives, and he's able to make the tag. Bases umpire Sergio Belazzi making the call over at first base as Belazzi tags out and makes the call, tagging out Whitfield. And an easy out number 1 to start things here for Jester. How often do you see a 3-run assisted in which first baseman is off the bag? In order for him to collect the out, he has to make the tag himself. Great athletic play there on the part of Galloway, and now Anthony Avalos, the UH Cougar infielder, will get his first opportunity. That one's on the outside half, 4-1. Ant-Man and 9 to go, the shortstop. 1 for 4 with a run scored again. Keeping his hitting streak alive, now extending it to 12 games coming into tonight. The 1-0 is just fouled off the end of the bat. Avalos certainly in contention to be a TCL All-Star in a couple of weeks' time. Avalos has made it very clear that he wants to have as much playing time as possible and take advantage of it throughout all of this summer, and he certainly has so far, wearing the red and blues. That's a swing and a miss for strike 2. Foul tip into the glove. Great high fastball here by Jester. Jester, the man on the mound, the freshman out of Spring Branch, Texas. Currently at UTSA, but possibly looking to transfer to another school as he did not get any playing time. High school, he attended the small town of Bracken Christian School at Bulverde, Texas, the small town. Advanced to the state finals during his both sophomore and junior season. He earned first-team All-State during both of those years. 2-2. Just low, and a full count pitch now awaits here for Avalos. Plans to study statistics at UTSA, or wherever college he decides to play ball. Seguin with their 1-0 lead off an RBI single by Logan Ham, as that's grounded up the middle and right between the legs of Ryan Jester. As Jester pulling an unintentional Bill Buckner, as that one is grounded right between his legs and he didn't even notice. But Anthony Avalos extending his hitting streak now to 13 consecutive games as he continues to be on a hit torment. The last time that Anthony Avalos could not collect a hit in a baseball game for these Generals, June 5th, more than 2 weeks ago. Travis Bragg, the defending TCL Player of the Week, now coming to the plate. Bragg firmly establishing himself, as that's going to be a wild throw by Whit Joyce, as it didn't even reach second base. It slipped out of his hand when he made the throw. Juan Rivera able to collect it, but an easy stolen bag on the part of Anthony Avalos. He now reaches double digits in the category with 10 on the young summer. But more importantly, back to Travis Bragg, as Joyce has to recollect his mask after losing it. For Travis Bragg, he has basically been unstoppable since coming into this league, as there's a quick mound hitting here to check on Joyce. Bragg, number 1 in the league in batting average at .436, 17 for 39 to begin the summer. Number 1 in slugging at .564, number 1 in OPS at just over 1,100, and number 2 in the league in on-base percentage at .549. However, with all of those great numbers of getting on base, he's only collected 3 doubles and 6 RBIs and 9 walks and 10 runs scored, majority of which coming in this past week. Whit Joyce looks to be okay. He's checked in with his manager, Tony Perez, as well as his infield. But He almost kind of threw out his arm in a sense as he now gets a couple practice throws here from Ryan Jester. We currently have a 1-0 count here for Travis Bragg as he has a conversation here with Michael Loros, as you can see on your screen. And after a similar start from what we saw in the top of the first inning, where a quick out number 1 was collected, followed by a single, then an advancement. Last inning we saw was a pass ball. This time it was a stolen bag on the part of Anthony Avalos. So now Bragg will have a similar situation to what Rashawn Galloway had in the previous inning and have an RBI chance here in the bottom of the first with 1 away. Infield playing straight up with the corners close near the grass. 1-0 from Jester. Outside half, 2-0. Bragg has made it very clear that him winning TCL Player of the Week, that's just the beginning. He wants to achieve so much more in this league, even after having a spectacular season at Vernon College. Small junior college just 11 miles south of the Texas-Oklahoma border. Outside is 3-0. Pretty nice crowd on hand here on this Friday night. This free ticket night sponsored by our great friends at Zen Water. So the last homestand of the first half of the month of June. So 3-0 is just on that outside corner for strike 1. Great breaking ball by Jester, clipping that edge of the plate. If Bragg is able to reach base, possibly on a free pass, it would give a first and second with 1 out opportunity for Dalton Mullins, who sits on deck, who's also top 5 in the league in batting average. 3-1. Outside ball 4, and Mullins will get that chance. Now coming into tonight, the Victoria Generals have an unprecedented standing right now when it comes to getting on base. We mention nearly every night that as a team, they're number 1 in team batting average, number 1 in team OPS, number 1 in team on base percentage, and number 1 in team slugging. But 7 hitters in this Generals roster alone batting at least 300 or higher. And if Cameron Nickens has a good night, who is sitting on deck right now, could possibly be 8 by the end of the night, as that one's low. 4-1 for Dalton Mullins. Mullins, as I mentioned, number 5 in the league in batting average at .372. 7 runs scored, 3 RBIs, 7 walks, 6 punch-outs, and 2 stolen bags in 12 games played in the red and blue. Utilizing the blue wooden bat representing Angelina College. 1-0 as both runners advance. A throw over to third, going to be close, but it's beyond the glove of Orlando Samaniego. And coming home to tie the game is Anthony Avalos. An errant throw by Whit Joyce brings in the game's first run. We are all squared at 1 in the bottom of 1. Whole lot of 1s. You're seeing here at Riverside Stadium, you'll just see probably nothing but 1s over on the electronic scoreboard. Out in deep left center field, but more importantly, Travis Bragg steals second base. He now sits at second, representing the go-ahead run for Victoria. But more importantly, Avalos comes around to score as he steals third and then comes home on the E2. So the E2 is what brings Avalos to the plate, so it will be an unearned run on the part of Ryan Jester. 2-1's the count here now for Dalton. That 2-1's just fouled on the inside part of the bat as it was a jammed inside fastball, and he'll now have an even count. Both sides scoring their runs in different ways. Logan Hamm with his RBI single in the top half, and now the errant throw by Whit Joyce bringing home Avalos, who singled to reach base. But 2 stolen bags in the process. And that one nearly hits Mullins, and Joyce able to just stay in front of it, holding Bragg back to second base. And a full count pitch awaits. We had a very quick ball game a night ago, just about 2 hours and 22 minutes. In last night's Thursday night contest, and certainly from across the league standpoint, the least exciting game across the league in every sense of the word, with 2 walk-offs in each of the other ones, as that one's fouled back. Lake Charles coming back from 5 runs down in the bottom of the 9th to win 6-5. They were down 5-1 going into that bottom of the 9th inning and ended up walking it off. So that one's inside for ball 4. So Mullins will also walk 90 feet. It's the second free pass of this bottom of the first inning, and more importantly, the third straight base runner to reach for Victoria. And it's runners at first and second with one out, and an opportunity here for Cameron Nickens.
He said it's just a black screen. No, it's not broadcasting at all. He said it's just a black screen.
An opportunity here for Cameron Nickens, as he will come up with a runner at first and second and just one out on the board. Mullins at first, Bragg at second. Nickens, the UH Cougar infielder, at second base tonight. Normally has been in the outfield in the designated hitting spot for Michael Oros' squad, but is back in the infield tonight. Very multifaceted utility player, to say the least. So that one's found back 0-1.
I told him everything's working on our end.
It's fouled back 0-1. And a 1 count here for Nickens. One and one the count here for Cameron. 1-1 count here for Cameron is on the inside corner for strike 2. 1-2 count here for the UH Cougar infielder. One, two. Inside once again, and an even count 2-2 here. More importantly, actually, it looks like it might be a hit batter. Whit Joyce is actually slightly confused, but it's a hit by pitch on the part of Cameron Nickens, and the bases are now loaded with only one out. And the bullpen might start to churn if you're Tony Perez and these River Monsters. As the bases are loaded with only one out on the board, a double play does end this inning for Seguin. One's on the inside corner for strike 1. 0-1 here for Mark Henning, the first baseman here tonight for the Stars. Or not tonight, for the Victoria Generals, my apologies. That one's grounded over to the left side, could be 2. Over to second for 1, but Juan Rivera is not able to hold on to the ball. But for bases, umpire Sergio Belazzi rules it as an out. And it's an RBI fielder's choice on the part of Mark Henning as he brings home the score. The players are still doing the dance with no music playing, but hey, now the music finally comes on. And it's a 2-1 lead now for Victoria as they seize the lead on the RBI fielder's choice by Henning. So it's 2 outs now on the board. Mullins is now advancing to third. It's Nickens who's tagged out at second. So he's tagged out on that fielder's choice. Rivera collecting the out, but then losing the ball in the process of throwing it to first. And now Josh Arquette with a chance here, sitting 90 feet away, is a big insurance run if you're Victoria.
So don't worry, he emailed him.
Josh is set for the 1-0. Here it comes. Fouled back. 1-1 count here for Arquette. Arquette returning to the lineup for Victoria, but more importantly, doing so in a much-needed spot. He's only batting 182 this summer in 13 games. The freshman at Panola College who didn't get any playing time this past spring. And coming here to Victoria, looking to get the opportunity to finally play with collegiate players in this summer league setting. 1-1. Oh, but in that inside corner, 1-2, throwing over to Whit Joyce on the steely stolen base, and that might be the most bizarre double steal you will ever see in your life. As both Dalton Mullins and Mark Henning stealing second and home, and it's 3-1 Victoria as Whit Joyce decided to hold on to the ball for 3 seconds, allowing both runners to make up their mind, and by the time he threw it to second base, it was over. So a runner now sits at second with only 2 outs. 1-2's the count here for Arquette. Lined in the left and caught by Orlando Samaniego to end this first inning. But my goodness, Victoria's damage is well done for sure, and done in all sorts of ways. RBI fielders' choices, runners coming home unorthodox, errors all over the place. But still, a 3-1 lead for Victoria and a lead and a cushion for Ben Polisholtz. We'll see if he's able to do so. We come back for the second inning as he now holds a 2-1 lead. Can he do it like he did last week? We'll find out when we come back on TCL TV. This top of the second inning, Hunter Ham leading things off for the Sturs. That is where the Seguin standings are for this 4-13 River Monsters side. As you can see on the standings on your screen, first pitch on the outside corner for strike one by Ben Polisholtz. As we begin this top of the seventh inning, Max Cepeda with you solo here on the Party Box at Riverside Stadium, as that one's on the outside corner for strike two. Home plate umpire Robert Browder calling the balls and strikes for tonight's contest as the 0-2 is way outside, losing control of the fastball was Polisholtz, but 1-2 he is ahead early on Hunter Ham. Ham, his first week of TCL play, was 0 for 2 a night ago with a punch out looking at a ground out to short, as that one's on the outside corner, no call. Ham, the Hill College native, mentioned numerous times how vital Hunter Ham has been to the Seguin offense since jumping on last week, as that's a high fly ball to center, and Damian Whitfield just waits underneath it, about 6 steps short of that warning track in the deep left center gap, one of the farthest parts of this yard. And a long out number one to begin this second inning. So now Evan Janner will get an opportunity here as he will come on with 1 out. Now in center field tonight is the man that Seguin's fan base calls Thor. So that one's on that outside half. 1-0 here they count. So that one's just grounded to the left side. Routine play for Anthony Avalo is going to be tighter than expected, and he's safe. The speedy Evan Janner able to beat out the throw by Ant-Man. And a 1-out base runner again here for Seguin, as Janner outrunning Avalos' fast throw. Avalos, one of the 3 best defensive players on this Generals side, but able to outrun the throw is Jenner, a man who's currently second in the TCL in stolen bags, and that's a man you do not want sitting at first base by any means. But Joyce now comes over as could be expecting a lot of pickoff throws from the Blaine Community College southpaw on the mound. That one's the first one we'll see tonight with Whit Joyce, the backstop, now sitting behind the plate. We're now sitting at the plate in the batter's box as that one's outside for a ball 1-0. Great job by Brock Knorr behind the dish, keeping it in front. Jenner, 14 stolen bags this summer, number 2 in the league. Whit Joyce at the dish, batting 167 this summer, 6 for 36. 1-0's a half swing and a swing and a miss for strike 1, 1-1 as Joyce frustrated with himself to say the least following that half swing. Wind not as strong as it has been in the last previous nights here in this ballpark. The 1-1. High fly ball to right. Going after it is both Henning and Bragg. Will either of them have a shot? No, it will fall in the Bermuda Triangle. But it will fall in foul territory as we now sit at a 1-2 count here with a Seguin backstop. It's 2-2 even count here for Whit Joyce. Evan Janners remains at first base. One out here in the top of the second inning. Victoria up 3-1. Early here with both sides producing offense early as that one's grounded just foul as it hits off the plate before bouncing into fair territory. As running was Janner on the plate, and he was nearly already at the second base bag. Two to Joyce. He relied so heavily on the breaking ball to get himself out of jams. He had to do so a whole lot last week, even in an 18-2 victory. Janner running on the full count pitch, and that's behind the glove of Josh Arquette. Janner, even with his speed, will stay at second base. It's back-to-back base hits here for the Stars as the defending champs have runners at first and second with only one away. Juan Rivera now going to get an opportunity here. As the 5'7" shortstop, after having the previous night 1 for 2 with reaching base twice on a single and walk. If you're just joining us here on TCL TV due to some possible technical difficulties, we thank you for joining us on this Friday night for the final time these two teams will face off for the 6th time in 9 days. If you're just joining us, I am Max Cepeda. I am once again your guide tonight here from the Party Box at Riverside Stadium. It's a 3-1 lead. The Victoria Generals over the Seguin Monsters. We'll try to recap you as much as we can as we currently have a 1-1 count here for Juan Rivera. Seguin's 1 run coming in the top of the first inning off an RBI single by Logan Ham. And a 2-0 count here. Actually, correction here for Rivera at the dish. Ben Polschultz on the mound tonight for Victoria after his incredible night a week ago at Smokey Joe Williams Field. And for Victoria, 3 runs in that bottom of the first inning, coming off of an errant throw by backstop Whit Joyce, that bringing in the game-tying run, the go-ahead run coming on an RBI fielder's choice ground out by Mark Henning, and then a stolen bag on the part of Dalton Mullins, or I believe a stolen bag. We'll see if it's counted as an error or stolen bag. It's going to be hard to determine. Regardless, it is 3 runs on the board for Victoria and just 1 hit they needed to get him. As the 3-1 is going to be outside for ball 4 and an opportunity to get Jenner, but not in time, as Evan, now with his 15th stolen bag on the summer, he is 2 away from catching the league lead. But more importantly, it's a 5-pitch walk that allows Juan Rivera to reach the base pads. And Jenner, who steals second base, or steals third base, my apologies, now has us in a bases-loaded situation with only one out, the exact same situation Victoria was in the previous half inning. Back at the top of the order with Dakota Howard. That one's inside for ball one. Howard 0 for 1 with a strikeout called in the inside part of the plate. Or actually, no, it's just inside for ball one, a little bit farther inside than expected. 1-0 to Paul Schultz. That one's lined and right, caught by Ben. Throw over to third. It's a 1-5 double play. What a way to show off the fans as we come back here on TCL TV. Back online, and Paul Schultz recognizes the moment and seizes it. We go bottom two. Victoria still with a 3-1 lead, looking for more insurance. We come back here on TCL TV. Please stay with us, won't you? Here for the bottom of the second inning, a 3-1 lead for the Victoria Generals. That is where we stand. We come back here. So we currently sit with a 3-1 lead for Victoria, and 8-9-1 is where we sit in the Generals order. Brock Knorr, Jake Weaver, and Damian Whitfield due up for the second inning of work for Ryan Jester. So in that first inning, he allowed 3 runs, 2 earned, 1 hit, 1 error. That being on the part of his backstop in Whit Joyce, and then also leaving a runner on in that first inning. Victoria just needing 1 hit to collect all 3 of their runs, coming on the form of an error at the plate, an RBI ground out fielder's choice, and then a stealing of home on the part of Dalton Mullins in a double steal. That's how Victoria has this 3-1 lead over these defending champions. 1-1 is low, and that's behind Whit Joyce. Bad hop there by Jester on the breaking ball. It's 2-1. Brock Knorr returning to the plate, and more importantly, has had a struggling summer, to say the least, wearing the red and blue. Known for being the jokester in the clubhouse. It has been an absolute joke so far at the plate, to say the least. Knorr 1 for 18. In 9 games played, 5 runs scored, 3 RBIs, 7 walks, 4 Ks, and 3 stolen bases. As that one is upstairs for ball 4 and just above the head of Brock Knorr. So the life flashes before his eyes, but more importantly, he now advances 90 feet, and it's a leadoff base runner for these Victoria Generals here in this bottom of the second. And remember, this was the story from last Friday between these two, where Jester wasn't able to just maintain the Victoria offense long enough, and he was pulled out early. And as you can see, well, you can't see it right now, but a southpaw at least, and possibly even a right-hander, both warming in the Seguin bullpen, as it could be a long night for the arms of head coach Tony Perez on this Friday. On this Friday night. As 0-1 is the count here for Jake Weaver. Weaver so far this summer, whole lot of playing time and moving up and down this Michael Oros lineup I think 204 through 17 games. 7 runs scored, a double, 7 RBIs. Tied for 4th in the league with 13 walks, however. Also has stolen 5 bags as well. One to Jake, and a whole lot of fans here at Riverside trying to stoke into the mind of Ryan Jester and trying to get into his head. Brock Knorr, who sits at first base, has yet to steal a bag so far this summer. We'll have an opportunity here to do so. An 0-1 pitch. Way upstairs for ball 1, 1-1. And softly blowing right to left, as we've seen for much of this week. But more importantly, this weather looks incredibly beautiful and a massive stark contrast from what we saw 48 hours ago with the arrival of the rain bands of Tropical Storm Alberto, as that one's upstairs, 2-1. The count for Jake Weaver. So we near the 8 o'clock hour here in the Central Time Zone. We'll give scoring updates across the TCL. We know there's been problems with TCL TV for much of the night. Most of you have been watching the contest with the Bombers and Gumbo Gators for much of the night, but thankfully all 3 games are back online, and we are all set to go for a great night of Friday night baseball across the league. 1-1, a tie ball game in the top of the 4th already out in Lafayette, and also in the top of the 4th, a 1-0 lead for the Gumbo Gators against the Bombers. Remember, a Gators and King Cutter win benefits the Generals, at least with their game plan to get the #1 seed. As Jake once again now gets a free pass. It's back-to-back walks to begin this 2nd inning, and the pitch count continuing to climb, as Tony Perez will have now his first formal meeting with Ryan Jester. And we'll see if the bullpen gate now opens. It looks like the gate is opening right now, and it might just be 1+ innings in the outing for the UTSA Roadrunner freshman. And that is the end of Ryan Jester's night. We'll tell you the new man on the mound for the Seguin River Monsters when we come back. Victoria looking to put on more insurance, and they already lead 3-1, just bottom 2. Upcoming promotions here at Riverside Stadium, Faith and Family Nights on Wednesday night, June 26th, when the Brazos Valley Bombers come into town. That's the final night of the first half of the regular season. Pre-game concert featuring Clay Crockett and the Nation of Believers presented by Clean Corp International. And then Thursday night, June 27th, with the Acadiana Cane Cutters in town, it's purple out the park. Generals wearing their purple-white uniforms for one night only in a jersey auction presented by Alzheimer's for the Alzheimer's Association. All the money will go towards the Alzheimer's Association. That night is presented by our friends at Edward Jones, making sense of investing. As we come back here for the bottom of the second inning, Damian Whitfield, the top of the order, now comes up as we flip over this order in 8-9 in the Generals order, which led off this bottom of the second inning with back-to-back walks, as Will Gross now comes in, the southpaw. Now coming in after just 1+ innings from Ryan Jester. Whitfield will show bunt, first pitch, and the infield will barely even move. As Orlando Samaniego and Whit Joyce, all with bad communication, they were trying to figure out what they wanted to do with the ball. They were just like, you know what, we'll just let everyone advance 90 feet. So it's 3 straight runners reaching base here to begin this bottom of the second inning, and we have the bases loaded with nobody out. On the bunt single by Whitfield, he's 1 for 2 on the young evening. And now the dangerous UH Cougar Anthony Avalos coming up to the dish with the bases loaded, nobody out. Straight up shift from the Seguin Monster defense. Same defense that has allowed the most errors defensively of any team in the TCL. First pitch from Gross. Great breaking ball at the top of the zone, strike 1. Gross so far this summer, 0-2 with a 9 ERA and 3 appearances. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 5 walks, 8 punch-outs. He's faced the Generals in all 3 of his previous outings. Done good in some, done not so great in 2 of the 3, where he's given up at least 2 runs or more. 1 is low. Great block there by Joyce behind the plate, 1-1. Avalos 1 for 1 on the night. With a single and run scored, he's also stolen both second and third base, which was what happened back in that first inning. Knorr at third, Weaver at second, Whitfield at first. 8-9-1 in that order. The Generals lineup from what you saw on your screen not that long ago. The 1-1. Line drive into left field. This could drop, and a great diving catch on the part of Logan Ham. A sacrifice fly will bring in Brock Knorr as he comes in with just only 1 out on the board, as it is now a 4-1 Generals lead. But a great defensive play by Logan Ham out there in left field. It was a dying line drive, but he was able to just lean forward to collect that out. And it's a sacrifice line drive on the part of Avalos. He extends his RBI count on the summer, but he will go back to the dugout, as both Whitfield and Weaver remain at first and second base respectively. So it is now runners at first and second with only 1 out. And an opportunity now here for Travis Bragg, defending TCL Player of the Week. Someone who's not done well in run-producing situations could do well right here. Great breaking ball outside corner, strike 1. Avalos with the RBI sacrifice fly will now extend his total RBI count on the season to 14. He came into the night tied for 3rd in the league in RBIs. Now he's tied for 2nd. 0-1. Inside corner, great fastball by Gross, 0-2. Gross's story, mentioned it the last time he came to Riverside Stadium, the current Virginia Commonwealth Ram, VCU out of the Atlantic 10. El Paso native coming back to Texas and coming back from the Mid-Atlantic coast to come back to the TCL. Was originally at El Paso CC before transferring to Richmond. Grounded over to the right side. Should be a routine play for Patrick McClellan. He'll make the throw over in time for out number 2. But both Jake Weaver and Damian Whitfield advancing 90 feet. And it's a big out number 2 here if you're the Stars. So a sacrifice runner that moves the runners over, and now an opportunity here for Dalton Mullins, who's already been walked tonight and stole home plate, coming home to score Victoria's 3rd run of the evening. Victoria only needing 2 hits so far tonight to collect their 4 runs. 2 of those 4 being earned in the RBI form. And an RBI ground-out fielder's choice in this inning, and in this inning, a sacrifice fly. That one's just foul off the end of the bat by Mullins. 0-1 the count. Alton, Liberty, Texas native, the sophomore out of Angelina College. Will quickly show you the Victoria Generals lineup for all of you who may be joining us on TCL TV when we have the moment. The 0-1 is a great breaking ball inside. 4 strike 2, 0-2 now the count for Mullins. This is what the Victoria Generals lineup looked like coming into tonight. You see the changes with Henning, Arquette, Knorr, and Weaver now in the lineup. And obviously, of course, Ben Polisholt on the mound, but the top 5, for the most part, staying the same. 0-2 from Gross. Breaking ball upstairs, couldn't break enough, 1-2. We'll show you Seguin's lineup for those of you just joining us. When we come back in a moment, of course, that's our annual tradition that we show you the starting lineups in the first inning, but due to our technical difficulties, we'll show you them throughout the course of the night, just so all you fans are reminded who is on the diamond tonight on this Friday night of June 21st, as we sit 5 days away from the end of the TCL first half. 1-2. Breaking ball that Mullins just gets underneath. He went for the high cheese. Ball way outside the zone, but Mullins thought he had it. But instead, he fouls it out of the ballpark. It remains 1-2 for the Victorian designated hitter. Jake Weaver, the left fielder, sitting 90 feet away. Damian Whitfield, the center fielder, and the leadoff man, sitting at second base, both representing big insurance runs. 1-2 from Gross. Breaking ball that's lined into right field, and a diving play there by McClellan. He'll throw all the way to the plate. Going to be a close play. Not in time. The speedy Whitfield coming in as a second insurance run. And it is blown open here on this Friday night. A 2 RBI infield single for Dalton Mullins. It is 6-1 Gens. What a break for Dalton Mullins as he collects his 4th and 5th RBIs of the summer. On the 2 RBI single, Whitfield with the aggressive base running coming all the way around from second. On the infield play that just went into that outfield grass. A dime of a throw from Patrick McClellan at second base, but just too late. As Whitfield just watched around the tag, Cameron Nickens, a slow roller. Going to be a close play. Throw over to the pitch is going to be not in time, as arming off the bag was Will Gross. As Will Gross had his foot off of the bag on the flip by Rashawn Galloway. And Galloway confused out of his mind as he thought that easily in time was going to be Gross at first base. But Gross not able to apply the tag, so Nickens now going to stand at first on another infield single. Mullins now advancing to second base. It was a difficult slow roller there by Nickens, and that's just kind of been the interesting game plan that Cam Nickens has kind of brought so far this summer. He's had to deal with a whole lot of soft contact and a whole lot of awkward rollers, and it's usually been his balls, the balls that he's been able to knock into the field of play, that have really resulted in a whole lot of defensive miscues and errors. And it's because of that we now have another 3-run inning. It's back-to-back 3-run innings for Victoria. 3 in the first and now 3 in the second. On just 3 hits, as Mark Henning swings and misses for strike 1, 1-1. Henning, we mentioned earlier in the broadcast before we came officially on the air on TCL TV, not in the lineup a night ago, has had a struggling summer to say the least. But does already have an RBI on the night with his RBI fielder's choice, with the bases loaded back in the first. 1-1's upstairs. No one throwing in the Seguin bullpen. This is Will Gross's inning for what we know. Remember, there are already 2 outs on the board, so ground ball or a fly ball could easily end this inning if you're the Stars. But things are already once again out of hand, just like they were last Friday out at Smokey Joe Williams. 2-1 is just above the letters, a nearly close call, but Robert Browder is saying that it did not touch the zone, and it's 3-1. Henning reaches base, and we have another bases loaded situation where we will have batted around in this second inning as Josh Arquette sits on deck. Henning, the UTSA junior out of Houston, standing at a staggering 6'4", 225. 3-1. Just on that inside half, nearly an identical pitch from the previous one, but against the call, and the payoff pitch awaits here for Henning. Spent 3 years at New Mexico Junior College, played 2 seasons, recorded a career .371 batting average, and then had a .261 season and 36 games for the Roadrunners. Payoff, runners advancing, inside corner, ball 4. 3 straight calls on the border of the zone, and only one of them gets the credit of Robert Browder behind the dish. And the bases are once again loaded here in this second inning, the 3rd time Victoria has had a bases loaded situation tonight. And we have officially batted around here in this second inning as Josh Arquette now sits at the bench. Arquette 0 for 1 tonight with a line out to third base, run to the glove of Orlando Samaniego. First pitch. Upstairs, ball 1. Sitting at third base is Dalton Mullins. He had the 2 RBI single that blew this game open. A single for Cameron Nickens. He sits at second base, and then Henning on his walk sits at first. 4, 5, 6 in the Generals order, all on base right now. 1-0. Great breaking ball, but does not come across the zone. It's 2-0 for Gross. And similar to when we last saw him in this field, as all 3 of his previous appearances have been against this team, and that's kind of the interesting decision if you're head coach Tony Perez and if you're really the entire coaching staff for this River Monsters squad, as the 2-0 is on the inside corner for strike 1. When your starter Ryan Jester is struggling after just throwing an inning plus, I find it very interesting that you would bring in a relief arm that's faced this team already 3 times and has been beaten up already by allowing at least 2 or more runs twice in those 3 appearances. An arm that these Generals offense is very familiar with already this summer in Will Gross. Hey, that might just be a sign that the Seguin bullpen is maybe tarnished, that they don't have a whole lot of arms to go to right now. They may be expecting a whole lot of innings out of Gross, which is why no one is in that bullpen right now. 3-1. Inside, ball 4, and a bases loaded walk for Josh Arquette. He collects his first RBI of the night. And for Josh, he drives in yet another insurance run. It's the 6th RBI of the summer for Josh, and it is 7-1 to the VIC. Cam Nickens advancing to third, Mark Henning to second, Arquette to first, and Brock Knorr, who began this chaos with a walk, now comes back to the dish once again, the Stephen F. Austin backstop. Once again, yielding the iconic purple bat. Or actually, no, he's actually using the black bat. My apologies. He's usually been using the purple wooden bat for much of this summer, representing his school, but not using it right now. Could possibly be in the shop, might be broken. They are wooden bats after all, and these are college players who would only be using metal bats otherwise, as that one's outside for ball 1. Victoria has blown this game wide open on this Friday night. Look to keep the momentum alive. That's on the outside half, 1-1. Will Gross has had a very hard time finding the zone for much of this night. The VCU Southpaw, one of the few TCL players coming from the East Coast, but a Texas native nonetheless. Outside 2-1. He played summer ball last summer in the Coastal Plain League in Florida with the Peninsula Pilots. He's had this summer ball experience once before, as that one's lined over to second base. Patrick McClellan will go for the fielder's choice, and that will mercifully end this second inning. But 4 more runs come across the dish, with the highlight being the 2 RBI single by Dalton Mullins. 7-1 is where we stand, and once again for the second week in a row, Ben Polischoltz against these River Monsters has a big lead. Can he keep the pressure off of him and maintain his calmness? We'll find out when we come back for the third, right here on TCL TV. Screen says you are watching Victoria Generals baseball exclusively on TCL TV, and the Generals in front in a dominant fashion, 7-1 against these Seguin River Monsters as we begin this third inning. That's the heart of the order for the Sturs, 2-3-4, facing Ben Polschultz in his third inning of work, as Patrick McClellan leads things off. He's 1 for 1 with a single and run scored, also advanced to second on a pass ball. So that one's on the outside half, and quickly Polschultz is ahead 0-2. Generals looking for a 6th consecutive victory against these River Monsters. Seguin has dropped their last 6 overall, and looking for trying to avoid their first 7-game winning streak since last June, when the River Monsters win, of course, that infamous record of 9-21 before going 15-12 in the month of July, and then, of course, having the rest being history, going 3-1 in the postseason, winning their first ever championship in team history. Their sophomore season. 1-2's a high fly ball by McClellan. That's out there in right field near Bragg. He's under it. He's waiting for it. He'll make the catch for an easy out number 1 to begin this third inning. And now Rashawn Galloway will come up to this. She's 0 for 1. And as he comes up to the plate, we'll quickly show you what the Seguin lineup looked like tonight. As you can see, the additions of Orlando Samaniego is probably the only prominent addition. Of course, Logan Ham and Hunter Ham, not related technically. But Evan Janner with Joyce Juan Rivera, that bottom third's the same. The top third is the same. That one is outside, 4-1, 1-0 here for Galloway. That one's once again outside as well. Great job by Brock Noor, and that's really been the supplementary part and the reason for Michael Oros to really put in Brock Noor, not only because Hal Perez has been getting nearly 75% to 80% of the catching reps and opportunities, even with Noor struggling at the plate as he has been night after night, but the defensive presence that he brings behind the dish, certainly a calming tone for these Generals' arms. So 3-0 is inside and just upstairs for ball 4, and it's a 4-pitch walk allowed to Rashawn Galloway as he reaches base for the first time tonight. An opportunity here for Logan Ham. And collected the RBI single to give Seguin their one and only run back on the top of the first. Driving in, Patrick McClellan. As he lined one just into right center field for those of you who weren't watching. We were having some technical difficulties here on TCL TV. First pitch is on the outside corner for strike 1 from Polschultz. Ben, we mentioned coming into tonight, number 6 in the league in number 6 in the league in ERA for starters at 2.40, especially after his incredible 7-inning of 1-run baseball he threw against these River Monsters on the road in Seguin last Friday. And a no-doubt decision by Michael Oros and his staff to bring him back out here for this series finale. So that one's on the inside half, 1-2. We mentioned it, this River Monsters group has not won in this ballpark since that Game 3 of last year's postseason series. And you could argue that for Victoria, the following 5 wins that have happened since is that one's popped in just right behind the Victoria dugout. Thankfully, not hitting any players, so everyone's okay after that fly ball, as last night's starter Merrick Sears was able to collect it behind the dugout. Talk about a dynamic duo, and that might be, if you're Michael Oros, the top 2 in your rotation right now. If you're looking at possibly down the line in future weeks, might be the 2 southpaws in Sears and Polschultz. The Houston Cougar and the Blinn Community College Pirate. 1-2's outside, and even got here for Ham. And we mentioned 0 for 4 a previous night ago. Just his second game since returning to the TCL. Played for the Acadiana King Cutters a summer ago, which was primarily a star relief pitcher, and that's a double play! A broken bat line drive straight into the glove of first baseman Mark Henning, and Rashawn Galloway off the first base bag. An unassisted double play for Mark Henning at first base. All things going in General's favor through 2 1/3, or 2 1/2, I should say. Going bottom 3 here on TCL TV. Generals in full command, up 7-1. A little bit of new music tonight as we come back here for the bottom of the third inning. That is where the Texas Collegiate League stands coming into tonight. And so far, this ball game you're seeing right now, easily the biggest blowout throughout the league, as it is a 7-1 lead for the Victoria Generals as they look to get to 13-6, as you see on your screen, with a victory tonight as they begin this bottom of the third inning. Up 7-1 on Seguin. 3 runs in the bottom of the first, 3 in the first, and 4 in the second. And only needing 4 hits to collect those 7 runs. As Will Gross is back on the mound for his first full inning of relief work, and Jake Weaver is the first man he sees as the first pitch is way upstairs for ball 1. The 1-0 once again outside. Great pickup there by Joyce. The 2-0 count. He's collected there. So just for the tally, this is the first time all season, that bottom of the second inning, it's the first time all year in which Victoria scored at least 3 runs or more in a single inning and did not leave a single runner on base. That's a huge storyline we've talked about much of this summer. It's the struggle that Victoria has had with leaving runners on base. First time scoring 3 or more runs in a single inning and not leaving anybody on and taking care of business. Certainly when Mike Caloros will look back at the box score, he'll be very proud of that moment, even with all of the finicky mistakes that have been allowed by this defense and pitching staff for the blue and green. As the 3-1's a swing and a miss, foul tipped into the glove. Great fastball away there by Gross, and the payoff pitch awaits. We mentioned this is also probably the slowest moving game so far across the league, with each of the other contests already in the bottom of the 5th inning, and we are just in the bottom of the 3rd. No surprise with the 7-1 result, of course. But that's a foul tip into the glove for strike 3. As Jake Weaver strikes out, an easy out number 1 here for Gross, as he collects his 9th punch out of the summer. And really for the summer, it's really his 9th punch out against the Generals, as he has faced nobody but Victoria this summer, facing them 3 times over the span of 4 days. Not something you often see from a relief arm, but Will Gross was thrown through that gauntlet just a week ago, as that one is on the outside corner for strike 1 for Damian Whitfield. Whitfield 1 for 2 in a night with a single and run scored. Coming all the way around to score in that 2nd inning, no surprise. 0-1. Outside half, great breaking ball there by Gross, and it's 0-2. Whitfield a little bit distraught with the call by Robert Browder behind the dish. Whitfield, we've mentioned his story, committed to UTRGV next fall after a season at Cisco College in his first 3 years of collegiate eligibility in San Marcos with the Bobcats of Texas State. He says he's very excited to go to UTRGV. He hopes that it's an opportunity for him to play with D1 competition and possibly get the intrigue of Major League Scouts. As the 1-2 is just fouled off the end of the bat. And with the talents that Whitfield has brought, and of course with the spectacular season he had for these Generals this summer ago, and with the season that he's putting up right now this summer, I mentioned coming into the night, top 5 once again in batting average, top 10 in stolen bases. He's right now trying to build his resume, and he's certainly on his way doing that so far. 1-2 from Gross. Breaking ball upstairs, couldn't break enough. 4 hits for both sides tonight, which is a shocker considering the 7-1 scoreline. Only 1 error defensively so far by Seguin tonight. That 1 error coming from the backstop man with Joyce. So that one's fouled down the left field line, and that will go way beyond this ballpark. And it remains 2-2 for the Atlanta native. 82 total pitches so far for Seguin already tonight, and we are just 2 1/3 innings through their night on the defensive side. So a whole lot of pitches will be in their future as that one's inside for ball 3. Another errant breaking ball, and it's been that slider that Gross has been trying to snap, the southpaw from VCU, and so far he has had a very, very difficult job being able to snap that slider. It's supposed to break to that opposite side of the plate, but every time he throws it, it seems to just stay inside like you see right there, but he's able to get the call from Robert Browder, and it's back-to-back Ks to begin this 3rd inning for Gross. A great bounce back if you're Gross. If you're trying to just collect yourself and give yourself back some self-confidence against this offense that has seen you already 3 times coming into tonight, and now for the 4th time. But now the UH Cougar infielder Anthony Avalos comes back to the dish. He was 1 for 2 on the night with a single run scored. Also has an RBI on a sacrifice fly as that one. He's just outside for ball 1. Joyce having to go outside of his stance to get it. Seguin with a loss tonight. Fall to 10 games under 500 at 4-14. Would get them to 4-14 through 18 games for the 2nd consecutive season that they would start out their record that way. But, as Seguin Monster fans would say, they would say that they've seen this movie before. They will have come back otherwise as Avalos grounds this one to the second base bag. Difficult play for Patrick McClellan, but able to complete it just in time to end the inning. A 1-2-3 third for Will Gross. A good bounce back for him against this familiar Generals offense he's faced 3 times. Paul Schultz will be back on the mound for the 4th. We're a third of the way home here from the banks of the Guadalupe River. And it's a 7-1 Generals lead. To the 4th we go when we come back. Here for the top of the 4th inning. You're on TCL TV. Max Cepeda with you. The voice of the Victoria Generals here from the Party Box at Riverside Stadium. A 7-1 lead for the Victoria Generals. You can see David Irons and Connor Kelly crossing across your screen. They just competed in a little in-game entertainment activity where they had to race each other on inflatable horses. Something I probably would not be good at myself, as that one's inside for ball 1 to Orlando Samaniego. 5-6-7 due up. Well, the River Monsters order here in this 5th inning, as that's a swing and a miss for strike 1, 1-1. An even count here for the Seguin shortstop, who so far tonight is 0 for 1 with a punch out. 1-1 is just low. Great block there on the part of Brock Noor behind the dish, but it is a 2-1 count to get things started here in this fourth inning. We're moving quite slowly tonight as we just approach nearing the bottom of the hour here in the 8 o'clock hours. That one's a high fly ball to left. Underneath it is Jake Weaver. He's waiting for it, and he makes the catch just along the foul line. And it is out number one, and a quick out number one here to begin his fourth inning. Hunter Ham will now get his opportunity here as he is 0 for 1 as well with a fly out to center. The Hill College freshman. That one's on the outside half for ball one. One major factor that we've yet to mention that doesn't really involve the TCL, but more importantly involves college baseball as a whole. As the 1-0 from Paula Schultz is outside for 2-0 count. Of course, the buzz of this city, this region, and of course this state is on college baseball right now is, of course, tomorrow night in Omaha. Game 1 of the Men's College World Series Final. So that one's a line drive to right center field, and that will drop right in front of Damian Whitfield. And it's a one-out base hit here for Hunter Ham here in this fourth inning. But going back to my point, of course, the storylines are in place. Number 1, Tennessee. Number 3, Texas A&M. And, of course, the storylines are aplenty for the matchup. As I have a little bit of technical difficulties here. Mind us for this quick moment. We now get back our video feed here. Kickoff throw is just made over to Hunter Ham as Evan Janner now currently sits the dish. Janner 1 for 1 with a single and stolen base. He got all the way to third in the second inning, but did not come across to score. As that one's grounded just foul off the end of the bat, 0-1 for the man known as Thor by the Seguin fan base. But more importantly, going back to the story, of course, all the storylines are in place. Number 1 versus number 3. A number 1 seed in the case of Tennessee has not won the Men's College World Series in 10 years, but more importantly, this is a matchup of two sides who have never really had college baseball success. They've had some success in recent years, have had some recent trips to Omaha, but in their first ever national championship, they combined just one national title appearance between the two sides. That's a swing and a miss for strike 2 by Janner. And certainly, of course, with, I bet a lot of you watching over across the airwaves, and I'll suspect a lot of the fans here at Riverside Stadium, the Aggies will certainly be in a whole lot of people's hearts over the course of this weekend as they try to go for their first major sporting national championship in College Station since 2011, when Aggie women's basketball made their run through the Final Four and did so just before the glory days of UConn in the early 2010s of NCAA women's basketball. As that's a swing and a miss for strike 3, a drop third strike, but fouled into the glove. Great job by Brock Noor maintaining the fall. But more importantly, it's a big out number 2 with a runner still sitting at first here in this fourth inning. An opportunity now here for Whit Joyce as he comes back up to the dish. Joyce 1 for 1 on the night with a single, went all the way to second, could not score.
Y'all been checking Twitter? No. I haven't either. Who's doing it? Colton? Oh, God.
Victoria, 7 runs on 4 hits, no errors. Seguin, 1 run on 5 hits, 1 error. Paul Schultz looking to get through yet another clean inning as that one's grounded over the left side. Anthony Avalos is there. He'll go for the conservative choice at the fielder's choice at second base. And once again, 4 clean innings of 1-run baseball for Ben Paul Schultz. And consecutive victories against the defending champs. here for the bottom of the fourth inning. 3-4-5, heart of the order for the Victoria Generals due up. As Travis Bragg, the defending TCL Player of the Week, will lead things off at a little Jason Derulo over the commercial break. If you're staying with us here on TCL TV, my name is Max Cepeda. I'm your guide for Victoria Generals Baseball in 2024. Bragg 0 for 1 in the night with a walk-and-run scored. Also has a stolen bag so far tonight. As the defending TCL Player of the Week is that one's on the outside corner. Great breaking ball by Will Gross, as he has retired each of the last 4 Generals. It's certainly a low bar, but you're in the fine crossing hairs of giving up 7 runs in the first 2 innings. You'll take any stretch of retired batters you can, especially against a Generals offense that has seen you now 4 times in the last 9 days. An often stretch you'll see from a relief pitcher, but in major leagues it's fairly common that by the end of a 9 or 10 day stretch where you see the same opponent 4 or 5 times, the offense certainly has the upper hand in the matchup, and you've certainly seen that tonight here against Gross. He's ahead 0-2 though, here on Bragg. Looking fairly closely and very slowly on the left side of the rubber. Here it comes. Great breaking ball, but just upstairs above the Vernon College sophomore. We'll give a TCL scoring update across the league. What we have for you as we currently sit here in the bottom of the 4th inning. We'll give you the scores that we currently have right now, thanks to our friends at Point Streak, the official stat keepers of the Texas Collegiate League. That one's upstairs, a 2-2 count. Brazos Valley now ahead, 3-2 on Lake Charles, as they have now bounced back. They're looking to bounce back emotionally after blowing a 4-run lead in the bottom of the 9th inning, allowing Lake Charles to walk them off on the road. As that one is a outside ball 4 and a payoff pitch walk to begin this bottom of the 4th inning here for Bragg. And then meanwhile in the top of the 7th, and what has been a very fast-moving contest in Lafayette, once again, a narrow one. Great pitching matchup between Baton Rouge and Acadiana. 1-1 is the score. Certainly a captivating contest, to say the least. I know they were having their own TCL TV issues there as well, but we're glad to see the broadcast down Lafayette on and alive for all of you at home. As that one's upstairs for strike 1 to Dalton Mullins, who has reached base twice and has scored twice. More importantly, he had that key 2 RBI single in that 2nd inning that really broke this game open. It was a 4-1 Generals lead before that point, and Mullins made it 6-1 with 1 swing as he hit it into that deep 4-3 hole and made it a difficult pay for Patrick McClellan. But Generals' aggressive base running able to bring 2 across the plate in that 1 ball in play. He's behind the 0-2 here to Gross. And he check swings there. We'll see if he went around. There's no call. Both umpires are still, and Sergio Belazzi over on the bases says safe, so Mullins did not swing, and he stays alive now 1-2. Sitting at first base is Travis Bragg. He led off this bottom of the 4th inning with a walk. Wind softly blowing right to left, and this great Generals fan base on full hand to see this Generals squad, see if they can get to 7 games over 500 and put the magic number to at least 2 to claim that #1 seed. Aaron throw, Bragg moving on the wild pitch, and he is able to advance 90 feet. A wild pitch on the part of Will Gross, and Bragg takes full advantage as he advances 90 feet as he now sits in scoring position, and a 2-2 count now sits here for Mullins. Defense, a slight shift on the right side, but a decent hole up the middle of the infield. 2-2. Just low below the knees, and Mullins will once again have a payoff pitch. Right-hander warming in the Seguin bullpen. We'll see how long the leash is. For Gross, obviously, it might be a very short one, considering how familiar this Generals offense is with his style, his routine. Payoff pitch to Dalton. Upstairs, ball 4. Back-to-back walks to begin this 4th inning. And if we want to add up, you can now count in total, and we didn't even count this really, But this is 6 walks. I originally thought almost it was 4 consecutive walks looking down at my book, but it was actually the lineup flipped over because more than 9 hitters came to the plate in that second inning. When 4 runs came across to score, right-hander still throwing. We'll see if Tony Perez wants to point over to his bullpen, and it looks like he will call for the baseball. Will Gross's night is done as he allows multiple runs again against the Generals for the 3rd time in the last 9 days. A struggling season so far, as his entire season has been against the red and blue. 7-1 still the lead, as runners sit at first and second with nobody out here in the 4th. Generals looking to add more to what's already been a dominant night here at Riverside. Here at Riverside Stadium, bottom of the 4th inning, a 7-1 lead for the Victoria Generals. And runners at first and second on back-to-back walks to begin this 4th inning, and the 3rd different arm already. For the Seguin Monsters on the mound, it is Colby Diaz. That name is familiar. He was the one who started the 18-2 loss for Seguin a week ago in Smokey Joe Williams Field. The Bobcat at Texas State, the 6'1", 215 sophomore, giving up 4 runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, and 3 punchouts in just 2 innings of work. Does have a win in his book, though, already tonight. He did collect a win in an 11-4 victory over the Bombers, where he threw 4 innings, 4 runs, gave up just 2 earned, 5 hits, 1 walk, and 3 punchouts as well. So he does have a win under his column. So it's not like his entire season has been flipped upside down, but the ERA looks that way as that one's lined in the left center field by Cameron Nickens and might just split the gap. Coming home is Travis Sprague. He will score. Staying at third base is Dalton Mullins. It's an RBI double for the UH Cougar and Cameron Nickens. And the blowout continues here on this Friday night. It's 8-1. Nickens, you can say whatever you want about him. His strict personality, his serious way when it comes to operating baseball, especially in the offensive end. But Nickens continues to prove night in and night out his value to Michael Oros' squad. And he's continued to prove it for much of this season. As now we currently sit at an 8-1 scoreline. Mark Henning now back up here at the dish. Henning has reached base twice on a fielder's choice RBI and a walk as that one's lined up in the right field. Great play by Patrick McClellan. Throw over to first. Not in time. 1 run's come across the plate, but a difficult pickup on the part of Rashawn Galloway has let 2 runs come across the score. And in just the span of 4 innings, the Generals have reached double digits. And they have done so for the 2nd time in the last week against the defending champs. It is now 10-1. My goodness. Mark Henning reaching on a difficult infield single, but then advancing to second on the pickup there by Henning, so he'll advance to second, but both Nickens and Mullins come around to score. So the 3 runners, or the 3 first at-bats, the 3 first batters faced here in this 4th inning, now have all come around to score. It is the 3rd 3+ run inning of the night for the Generals. Now, an opportunity here for Josh Arquette. Still nobody out as that one's upstairs. And a 2-0 count here. We want to point this out. Not only does the 18-2 in a very similar fashion here mid-July, which was almost a shock considering the fact that Seguin was actually on a roll during that time. The fact that Seguin would even lose any game, regardless if it was home or on the road, by 14 runs was astonishing. We might be on a very similar track right now. It's at first. There is still nobody out, and Brock Knorr comes to the dish. He is 0 for 1 with grounding on a fielder's choice, but he does also have a walk and run scored. For context, only Henning and Arquette, who sit on base, are the only 2 members of the Generals lineup to not touch home plate tonight in the form of coming around to score. As that one is on the inside corner. I believe that was for strike 1. There is no update on the official scoreboard just yet. We have already at least 1 pitch here in this AB here with Knorr at the dish, his 3rd plate appearance of the night. That one's inside, but that one is upstairs. Riverside Stadium not liking the call, but it's an early 2-0 count here for Knorr. Henning at second. Arquette storylines, if you remember from our first few broadcasts here in the summer of 2024, was the fact that Victoria was so dominant in this ballpark, regardless of whoever they played, especially against the early times, nearly by double digits every single night. They were nearly averaging double digits a game here in this ballpark, but I think it is fair to say that as we are now nearly 3+ weeks into this season, this Generals offense, top to bottom, has established themselves as the most complete lineup and the most complete offensive attack of any roster across the TCL. And what a great catch on the part of Colby Diaz as he institutes the 1-3 double play. That's the 2nd time tonight, as that one was back in the 2nd inning that was instituted by Dakota Howard. But now the same thing happens here for Brock Knorr as Josh Arquette comes off the board on the double play. And it's a 1-3 double play, and now we have 2 quick outs here in this 4th inning. And Jake Weaver now comes up to the dish with a runner sitting at second and now 2 away. Runner being Mark Henning. Bringing the ball outside corner. Great curve there, and that's strike 1 here from Diaz. You got to imagine this is almost deja vu for Diaz. He started, of course, the 18-2 contest a week ago, but now comes in relief. This is the first time he's ever come in relief this summer. That one's lined up the middle, and that will go through for center field for a base hit. Rounding third and coming home is Henning. Gun of a throw from Evan Jenner will be close, not in time. And heading to second is Jake Weaver. An RBI double. And the offensive onslaught continues as the Temple Junior College outfielder makes his presence known as Henning comes around to score. 8 of the 9 members of the Victoria lineup have now touched home plate, and it is now 11-1. We now go back to the top of the lineup as Damian Whitfield has now touched the right side batter's box in every single half inning. You know it's a dominant game when your leadoff man has his 4th plate appearance in the 4th inning. The second 4+ run inning of the night for Victoria. First pitch for Whitfield on the inside corner, strike one. Weaver advancing on the fielder's choice throw, so it's an RBI single for him. Henning coming across to score. And it's 4 runs now here in this 4th inning. A 1 outside half. Dropped it, nearly a pass ball. Joyce dropped it and thought it went behind him to the backstop, but it was just right behind him. So because of that, Weaver will not advance further at second base. A 10-plus run lead for Victoria on what appears to be a very long night as we near the 9 o'clock hour. And we have yet to complete the 4th inning. 1-1. Ground ball just foul off the end of the bat by Whitfield. If we keep going at this pace, we'll most likely be the only game left across the league. Probably within the next 30 to 45 minutes or so. Baton Rouge now has taken the lead in Lafayette 2-1. They lead Acadiana, and Brazos adding one more to their lead. They're now up 4-2 against Lake Charles in Southwest Louisiana. 1-2 to Damien. Just low below in the fake dirt. 2-2. And certainly for Michael Oros, he's talked about so many times how impressed he's been with how his offense has been able to overcome and overperform and treat every single game like a normal game, even with the differences in scoreline, as that is a called strike 3 and another merciful end to the inning for the Seguin pitching staff. Colby Diaz goes back to the dugout in frustration. 11-1 is the scoreline. 4 more runs come across to score, and it is nearly all but over, but we're only 4 innings through. We go to the 5th. Ben Polishultz back on the mound for a 5th inning. When we come back here on TCL TV, Generals up by 10. Here at Riverside Stadium as we begin inning number 5. We are not even to the 9 o'clock hour here at Riverside Stadium. 11-1 is the scoreline in favor of your Victoria Generals over the defending champion Seguin River Monsters. And Polishultz out for his 5th inning of work. He'll face 9-1-2 in the Seguin order. His first pitch is outside for ball 1 here to Juan Rivera, who has already been walked tonight, that being back in the 2nd. That one's on the outside corner and nailed for strike 1. 1-1 the count here for Rivera. Wind blowing still softly right to left. As that one's lined over to the left field line, and that one will drop and might be extra bases. Rivera rounds first. He's going to go for 2. Will be a close play. The throw not in time. The speedy 5'7" Juan Rivera coming through with a major double as the Dodge City Community College Conquistador leading things off here in the 5th inning with an extra base knock. So Rivera with lightning striking here in this 5th inning leads things off. And hey, if you're Seguin, it's probably going to be the best start you'll get, as you're now down by 10 as we now go to the top of the order with Dakota Howard coming to the dish, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and grounding into a 1-5 double play. Seguin coming into the night with the second fewest hits in the league in total with 121. The fewest runs scored of any TCL franchise by a wide margin. Only 71 combined runs in their first 18 contests. The 0-1 is just low. Remember, June 26th is coming Wednesday, the final day of the first half. By the end of those games, we will know who the top 2 seeds are. We might even know even sooner, especially if Victoria is able to punch their ticket closer to that magic number. Their magic number currently sits at 3. To claim the number 1 seed, they would either need 1 win and 2 Baton Rouge losses, 2 wins and 1 Baton Rouge loss, or the easy way, just get 3 straight wins. As that one's grounded over to the right side, Cameron Nickens is there. Will be a routine play, but it does advance the runner in Rivera, as he now sits 90 feet away as he represents Seguin's second run of the night, but it's a ground out to the second base side for Dakota Howard. He is now 0 for 3. 0 for 7 combined here in this 2-game set. Patrick McClellan now comes up to the dish. He's 1 for 2 with a single. Came across to score as the only run so far for the Stars. So that one's upstairs, but at the letters for strike 1 from Paul Schultz. No one in the Victoria bullpen, so we'll see how long Michael Oros wants to hold the leash out on. He was able to have him go through 7 complete innings a week ago last Friday. And we'll see if that's around the same target that he wants. If he's able to get a couple more clean innings out of him, maybe he'll... And who knows, obviously, with the second run sitting 90 feet away, how long Oros wants to have Paul Schultz out there without, of course, risk of injury and all those sort of things. 1-1. High fly ball to center. Whitfield is there. Sac fly territory is in play. Rivera will run on this catch, and he will score with ease. Damian won't even make a throw. Seguin will bring in their second run of the night. It's 11-2. An easy sacrifice fly for Patrick McClellan. As for him, McClellan able to collect when it comes to his summer numbers. He now collects RBI number 6 on the young summer with that sacrifice fly to center field. But regardless, it's a run home, and leadoff double that began this 5th inning produces into a run for Seguin, as that one's the outside half for strike 1 to Rashawn Galloway, who's 0 for 1 with a ground out, but also reached on a walk back in the 3rd. An on-base streak going this past week has Galloway. And no surprise, he came into the night just one of 2 hitters for Seguin, batting over 300. Himself, Evan Jenner, are the only 2. He's the leader in the clubhouse in batting average at 315. He's number 12 in the league in that category. 1-1's way outside 2-1, and certainly Galloway and Jenner on a very short list of Vera Monsters on possible locks for their homecoming appearance in the TCL All-Star Game in 2 weeks' time. The 2-1 is low. If you don't know how the TCL All-Star Game works, that will be on the air on Tuesday, July 3rd. I will be on the call for the TCL All-Star Game alongside the voice of the Seguin Vera Monsters, T-Texas Tony Turnstile, and Dash Chattahoochee, who will also be leading that broadcast in just 2 weeks' time in Seguin, as that one's a high fly ball to right, and a routine catch by Travis Bragg to end the inning. But one more run comes across to score on a sacrifice fly by Patrick McClellan. But it's 2 runs of 5-inning baseball for Ben Paul Schultz. We'll see how long his leash is, but pretty perfect so far through 5. We are halfway home. We go bottom 5, and we come back. Still a 9-run lead for the Met in red and blue. That is the TCL standings as of right now, with the 11-2 lead here in this fifth inning. Victoria would get to 13-6 and would send Seguin to 4-14. As the first pitch to Anthony Avalos is grounded to the right side and will be a one-pitch, one-out here in this bottom of the fifth inning. And a routine ground ball received by Orlando Samaniego at third base, as Anthony Avalos has a one-pitch, one-out here to begin this bottom of the fifth. To the left side. New man behind the plate for Seguin now, as coming out of the game for Whit Joyce will be Gabriel Rodriguez. Rodriguez, who came to the TCL as a traditional backstop. Rodriguez, the redshirt freshman out of Alvin Community College, who just hit under 200 as a backstop for the Dolphins, as that one's low for ball one. If that last name is familiar, Gabriel Rodriguez is the younger brother of Hector Rodriguez, who was a star for the Seguin River Monsters a season ago and was highly influential in their offensive depth as they made their Cinderella run in mid-late July and, of course, in the postseason in August, as that one's grounded to the left side again. Samaniego, another clean grab, and two groundouts to the left side and just four pitches. They're made by Colby Diaz, and it's two quick outs here in the fifth. And you may remember also, if you're a recent Generals fan, Gabriel Rodriguez came in to pitch in the ninth inning in the walk-off win last Saturday, and he nearly got himself an 8-out save in his first collegiate outing on the mound ever. Summer collegiate leagues or regular collegiate baseball regardless. Nearly had an 8-out save completed, but Jacob Sanchez said no to that theory. He was able to walk off that one, of course, as we all know, 7-6. Just 6 nights ago. Now at the plate is Dalton Mullins, as that one's low for ball one. It's the heart of the order for Victoria here at the mound, or here at the plate. Was Dalton Mullins with an unprecedented run to begin this ball game, as that's a swing and a miss for strike two. Has walked twice and also has the 2 RBI single. Has reached base all 3 times he's come to the plate tonight, and has also come back to the plate and has scored all 3 times tonight. 1-2's a swing and a miss, though, for strike 3. And a quick 1-2-3 bottom of the fifth inning. And light work there on the part of Colby Diaz. We go to the 6th. Game moving slightly faster, but still a dominant lead for the VIC. 11-2. We go to the 6th. Right back on TCL TV in just a moment. begin this sixth inning. Still an 11-2 lead for your Victoria Generals, but more importantly, a new man is on the mound. Michael Oros playing conservative as Ben Polisholtz's night is done. And more importantly, Blaine Zeppelin returns to the mound for the Victoria Generals as that one is on the outside half for ball one. Zeppelin with a couple of outings early in the first week and a half of the summer, but then taking a break, leaving the roster, and now coming back as of just a few short days ago. This is Zeppelin's second season here in the VIC as that one's inside for strike one. 1-1 here to Logan Ham. 4-5-6 due up for the Sturs here in this sixth inning as that one's lined to left. Going to be a close play for Jake Weaver, but he runs in to make the leaning catch as he will able to do so. And a fly ball begins this sixth inning without number one. So Zeppelin on the mound, the sophomore out of Seminole State College, which if you're wondering is just about an hour east of Oklahoma City. And a Victoria native is Zeppelin at 6'4", 240. Started 2 games, was the opening night starter here at home, the home opener starter. In 3 innings, gave up 6 hits, had 6 walks in that outing, and no punch-outs. In 2 games played, he also started the Tuesday game against Acadiana. That was on June the 3rd, or June the 4th, my apologies, where he only went 1 inning and gave up 5 earned runs. So that's a swing and a miss for strike 2, and another sign that you might recognize that Zeppelin may be new is he might be wearing a different cap than he did because he's lost his cap a couple of times, so might be looking for a new cap the next time he's on the mound. As the 0-2's way outside and a great grab by Brock Knorr behind the dish. Obviously no effect as there's no one on base right now for the Sturs, but still an impressive grab nonetheless for the Lumberjack backstop. 1-2 from Zeppelin. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Samaniego given the sayonara as he is sent back to the dugout. And it's 2 quick outs here in the 6th. Devastating breaking ball on the part of Zeppelin, and that's kind of his sweet spot. Last summer here in Victoria, in 8 appearances, Zeppelin a pretty decent 4.9 ERA, no record. Through just 7 1/3 innings, gave up 9 hits, 8 walks, and 5 punch-outs in that limited showing a summer ago. So that one's a check swing there for strike 1 here for Hunter Ham, who's 1 for 2 on the night with a single back in the 4th. You remember Ben Polisholtz, who started tonight, went 7 innings against this River Monsters side as that one's a wild pitch, 1-1. You may remember that Polisholtz was able to be given 7 innings, even in a ball game that was well decided already, with Victoria up by 13 runs at the time he was pulled out. But tonight, with Victoria up 9, Michael Oros deciding to pull the plug earlier than a week ago. And trying to possibly get Zeppelin back in a rhythm, which may be a smart decision on his part, considering the amount of time that Zeppelin has missed since leaving for vacation and now is back. 1-2. Breaking ball called, strike 3. A slider at the top of the zone in a 1-2-3 inning for Blaine Zeppelin with back-to-back punch-outs. We go bottom 6, a 9-run lead. Victoria still in full control. We go bottom 6 when we come back on TCL TV. at Riverside Stadium. You can see the upcoming promotions here in Riverside. Faith and Family Night on Wednesday, June 26th when the Brazos Valley Bombers are in town. The pregame concert from Clay Crockett and Nation of Believers presented by Clean Corp International. And then on Thursday, June 27th, the very next night, the Cane Cutters will be in town from Lafayette, as it will be Purple Out the Part Night with a jersey auction for Alzheimer's Association. All the money contributed to that organization that funds Alzheimer's research, and that, of course, is presented by our good friends at Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Back here for the bottom of the sixth. 5-6-7 due up for Victoria, as Cameron Nickens will lead things off. Nickens with his RBI double back in the fourth. That brought home a run and was, again, part of this blowing open for the Generals tonight, as the 1-0 is inside and a 2-0 count here from Colby Diaz, who remains on the mound here for the Sturs. All 11 of the Generals' runs coming in the first, second, and fourth. Scoring at least 3 in all 3 of those innings, scoring at least 4 in both the second and fourth, respectively. Doing so with just 7 hits. 11 runs on 7 hits, no errors for the VIC. 2 runs, 6 hits from 2 errors for the defending TCL champs. Lined over to the left side, just past the diving glove of Orlando Samaniego. And a great night. A 3 for 4 night with 2 singles and an RBI double for the UH Cougar, Cameron Nickens. We mentioned coming into the night that he was on the verge of possibly cracking 300 on the young summer. He may have cracked it just then with that single, which, if that were the case, Victoria will extend their lead for most batters with a batting average of 300 or more for the first 3.5 weeks. They came into the night with 7. They may have 8 now, which is unreal, to say the least, as Mark Henning comes back to the dish. He's reached base all 3 times as well, but only has 1 hit to show for it. He also has an RBI on a fielder's choice groundout back in the first and scored back in the fourth. A hit by Nickens, the 8th of the night for Victoria. So he leads off this bottom of the sixth. And a 1-1 count here for Henning. Obviously for Victoria, following this series, they will then head to Lafayette for the first time since the first full week of the summer, as the 1-1's fouled back, 1-2. As they will take on the Cane Cutters. They had a stretch of facing the Cane Cutters in a 4-game home-home split in the first full week of the summer. And they will now take on the Cane Cutters twice in 2 2-game sets, one this coming weekend starting tomorrow, and then one to end the month of June next Thursday and Friday. 1-2. Outside corner, called strike 3. Great breaking ball there on the part of Colby Diaz. And a big out number 1 here for the Sturs, as Mark Henning is retired. And now Arquette now comes back to the dish. Josh 0 for 1, but has walked in each of his last 2 appearances. Was caught on a double play back in the fourth. They collected the first 2 outs of that inning, as he was kind of left on an island at first base in a unexpected 1-3 double play. Second time tonight, we've seen twice on both sides, once on each side, a line drive to the pitcher, and then short throw over to his infield, instituted double play. Saw that for against Seguin in the second, and we saw it against Victoria back in the fourth. 0-1 to Arquette. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Sweeping slider there by Diaz. We'll give a TCL scoring update once we follow this pitch, as we sit in an 0-2 count here in the bottom of the sixth, and each of the other games are moving slightly faster than where we are right now. I would argue much faster, as that's a swing and a miss for strike 3. Back-to-back Ks for Diaz, and the runner in Nickens still left at first now with 2 away. Top of the 8th inning in Southwest Louisiana, a 4-3 lead for the Brazos Valley Bombers as they lead the Gumbo Gators. But the Cane Cutters bouncing back as they now seize control of the lead for the first time tonight. They are up 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th down in Lafayette at Fabacher Field. Looking for back-to-back victories and looking to split that 4-game series, which has been thrilling between the two 3-1-3 rivals, who were originally the only two teams in Louisiana until Lake Charles showed up here in 2024. First pitch to Brock Knorr is on the inside half for strike one. Knorr, the backstop tonight for Victoria, Stephen F. Austin, has scored already tonight on a walk. He's grounded to a fielder's choice and that double play in back-to-back plate appearances. A one's a swing and a miss, and that breaking ball for Diaz clearly working right now as he's had each of the last 3 men to come to the dish for Victoria, going fishing and missing the bait. To Brock, just staying alive as he once again goes down and pushes that swing downward. He stays alive still as the song plays over the speakers here at Riverside. Fans, for the most part, not leaving this ballpark on this Friday night, even with this dominant scoreline to the home side. Outside corner, called strike 3. Colby Diaz strikes out the side here in the 6th. He has 4 Ks in 2 innings of relief work and has allowed just 1 base runner. We will go to the 7th. We're 2/3 of the way home. Victoria still in full control, as Blaine Zeppelin will come back to the mound for a 2nd inning of relief work when we come back here on TCL TV. Back here for the 7th inning. Justin Bieber, that is the current standings as of right now. Of course, they will be changing within the matter of the next probably 30 to 45 minutes, as the 2 other TCL contests will probably end before this one. That's a ground ball to the third base side. Josh Arquette with a dime of a throw to get out Evan Janner, as Janner able to collect, or grounds over to the 5-3 hole and collects the first out of this 4th inning. Or of this 7th inning, I should say. My apologies. So 1 quick out here in the 7th, and an opportunity now here for Gabriel Rodriguez, his first time at the dish. Pinch coming in for Whit Joyce. That one is low for ball 1. Rodriguez mentioned his story when he came in to come in on the defensive side for Whit Joyce back in the 5th. Now comes up to bat for the first time in the 7th. First time he has batted here at Riverside Stadium, and the first time he's been in the lineup since, of course, giving up that walk-off pitching opportunity. That walk-off pitching chance back last Saturday between these two. And the 7-6 walk-off win for Victoria. That's grounded up the middle. Zeppelin with a routine play. And just like that, it is 2 quick outs to begin this 7th inning. And 2 ground outs. 1 to the left side and 1 up the middle. So just like that, it is 2 quick outs here in this 7th inning, and now an opportunity here for Juan Rivera. It was 7-8-9, bottom third of the order due up for the Stars. So that one's on the outside half for ball 1. Rivera with a double already tonight. He's 1 for 1. Also has a walk on his leisure. Came around to score after that double. That was back in the 5th. Supplying Seguin's 2nd run. So that one's outside 2-0 here from Zeppelin. Still no one in the Victoria bullpen, so we may see Blaine out for the 8th inning as well. So that one's outside 3-0. A right-hander currently warming right now in the Seguin bullpen, so we'll see how long the leash is for Colby Diaz, even after just allowing 1 base runner and striking out 4 through 2 innings of relief. That's on the outside half for strike 1. First strike with this AB, 3-1. The count here on Juan Rivera. So that one's fouled back to the screen, and a payoff pitch now awaits. Victoria with the victory, as we mentioned. Shrink their magic number to the number 1 seed down to 2, as that's on the inside corner for strike 3. Another 1-2-3 for Blaine Zeppelin. He has retired this entire lineup in order, as in his first 2 innings of relief, he's gone 6 up, 6 down, 9 straight for Victoria pitching. We'll be back for the bottom of the 7th inning stretch time here at Riverside when we come back here for TCL TV. 11-2, Victoria in front. Here for the bottom of the 4th inning, more Justin Bieber. Same album, fun fact. We've kind of used those songs in a back-to-back concurrence here so far this summer, as we now go to the bottom of the 7th inning in favor of the VIC. It is 9-1-2 due up here for the Generals, as Jake Weaver leads things off. Weaver has reached base twice, has an RBI single under his ledger, has also come around to score after a walk. That was back in the 2nd. First pitch he sees is fouled down the first base line. Strike 1, 0-1 here for the Temple Junior College outfielder. The junior coming off a season where he nearly bat 400 in his junior campaign. And now here in the TCL, was once the leadoff man, then was benched, then went to the bottom of the order, then the middle of the order, then went back to the top, and now maybe a 9-hole hitter going forward, just because of the base, the on-base ability, and the ability he brings when it comes to the speed factor. As it is 0-2, the count here for Weaver. Colby Diaz remaining on the mound here for the Stars. He's been heavily efficient in his first 2 full innings of relief, as that one's outside. 1-2, the count here on the part of Weaver, as he takes his time getting back into the batter's box. Fans have been very loud and active, even in what has been a blowout night in favor of these Generals, as they may have just 2 offensive innings to add any more insurance that they would like, as that one's outside. 1-2, or now an even count, 2-2, my apologies, in favor of Weaver. Taking his time is Colby Diaz on the right side of the rubber. The 2-2 is just inside and nearly hits Jenk. He's probably going to argue that it hit him, but it does not. It looks like it hit the ground, and the payoff pitch awaits. Still the same score lines in the other 2 games. 4-3 Brazos in front of Lake Charles. 3-2 lead for the Lafayette Cane Cutters of Acadiana in front of Baton Rouge in the top of the 8th. Lake Charles game is in the bottom of the 8th. Payoff pitch. Low ball 4. That one goes to the backstop. Weaver will advance 90 feet. He's being reminded that he can't advance another bag, but he probably would want to advance another bag, but he's being told to not do so, which is probably not a surprise on his effort, but he's just being reminded not to do so. So just like that, we will now go back to the top of the order, and now an opportunity here, and look at this. A new man coming to the plate to replace Damian Whitfield, as for the first time all year, Whitfield has been pinch hit for. And welcome to Victoria, Mario Mendoza Jr. As he now comes in to play for the first time in a Victoria Generals uniform. The junior from Fludgerville, Texas, just 25 minutes northeast of Austin. And a teammate of the Dove brothers at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, the Durs. Batting .231 out in Corpus Christi. In just 4 starts in 13 games, went just 3 for 13. With 2 walks, 3 runs scored, and an on-base percentage of around 33.3. That one's on the outside half for strike 1. The first pitch seen by Mario Mendoza. We'll certainly see how Mendoza is used. He is typically an infielder. So we'll see how Mendoza is necessarily used throughout this summer, as that one is lined just foul. So it'll be fairly interesting to see how, as I mentioned, how Michael Oros tries to utilize Mendoza, considering how deep this offense has been, and who knows, maybe adding another group of 5 talent like Mendoza just adds more and more depth, as we currently have a 1-2 count here on the newcomer General. Coming in to pinch hit for man at the top of the order in Damian Whitfield, so I wouldn't be surprised if Mendoza heads out to center field to replace Whitfield on the defensive side of things. So the 1-2's a check swing. Did he go around? Yes, he did. So an unstartling welcome for Mendoza, but he swings and misses through strike 3 on a check swing. And it's 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Right behind him, the UH Cougar infielder, the superstar, Anthony Avalos. He's grounded out in his last 2 plate appearances. He's technically 1 for 4 on the night, but has singled, has 2 stolen bags, has a run scored, and also an RBI on a sacrifice fly back in the 2nd, keeping his hitting streak alive. Outside strike 1. 1-1 here to the UH Cougar. Seguin still with 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors. Victoria still with 11 runs, 8 hits, 2 no errors. So that one is flied into the parking lot on the right side. And 0-2 ahead is Diaz here of the shortstop. Crowd has been active for much of the night, even with the lacking of competitiveness possibly in this game, as that is on the outside corner, called strike 3. Back-to-back Ks, and an interesting nugget here. 5 punch-outs against this Generals offense in the last 3 innings alone. So 5 punch-outs collected by Colby Diaz. It has been an electric night for him, and a great bounce back, really, after that difficult start he had a week ago in West Texas. against this Generals offense. So Travis Bragg, the defending TCL Player of the Week, will come back up. He's 0 for 2, but has walked twice and has scored both times he has reached base. As that's in the inside corner for strike one, 0-1 here to Bragg. Bragg has been handed a couple of opportunities to drive in runs, but instead he's done what he's done all year. He's been the creator and not the producer. You gotta love those guys when you have them if you're Mike Loros, as that's gonna be a wave 90 feet. As Jake Weaver, who led off this bottom of the 7th with the walk, advances now to second on the wild pitch. Bragg, the sophomore out of Vernon College. We're going to come through, which would be just his 7th RBI of the young summer. If he can get it, 1-1 is fouled back. Seguin will have their top third of the order, as they have had their last 9 retired. So they'll have the top third of the order due up in the 8th to face most likely Blaine Zeppelin once again. It'll be the first time that top 3 will have faced Zeppelin tonight. 1-2. High fly ball to right. That might drop, but coming in on in to make the play is Dakota Howard. And another 1-2-3-4 inning for Seguin pitching. They have just allowed 2 base runners since the near end of the 4th inning. Great job by the Seguin bullpen, but it might just be too little too late. We go to the 8th. Zeppelin back on the mound for a 3rd inning of relief work against the top of the Seguin order. We come back. 9-run lead still for the VIC. Back here at the top of the 8th inning. A little bit of life is a highway as we come back here. 1 pitch already here in this 8th inning as it was inside for strike 1 here for Dakota Howard. Blaine Zeppelin out here for his 3rd full inning of relief work and his back-to-back Ks in the direction of Dakota Howard. 0-2 is now the count. Howard 0 for 7 so far in this 2-game series. He's 0 for 3 tonight. 2 balls on the ground. And make that 0 for 8. A struggling series, to say the least, for Dakota Howard. He is probably frustrated with himself with his performance against this Victoria pitching staff throughout these last 2 nights. Against mostly both Merrick Sears and Ben Polschultz. As now Patrick McClellan will get a chance here. He's 1 for 3 on the night, but does have an RBI on a sacrifice fly and came around to score on a single back in the 1st. 0-1 the count here for McClellan. For Zeppelin, it is already the 4th punch out of this relief outing. That's inside for ball 1. So a couple of arms are currently out in the Victoria bullpen that possibly could be coming in soon. That one's on the outside half. No call. 2-1. The count here for McClellan. What a captivating story we have right now across the league. A tie ball game in Lake Charles. All knotted up at 4 in the bottom of the 8th inning. As that series once again remains to be dire close. And speaking of close series, The Cane Cutters now with a 4-2 lead. That game is also in the bottom of the 8th inning. Two incredibly close contests. And then, of course, the blowout fest we have right now is that one's a hard ground ball. Great throw by Anthony Avalos. That's in time. The UH Cougar again showing off his incredible defensive prowess with the one-hopping throw coming into the shallow part of the infield, right behind the pitcher's mound, and able to get the second out of this 8th inning. So Rashawn Galloway will get an opportunity here. Galloway reached base only once on a walk back in the 3rd, but he's also grounded out and flied out. So that one's on the outside corner for strike one from Zeppelin. Looks like Colby Diaz will probably come out for the bottom of the 8th inning. One the count here for Galloway. That's a swing and a miss. A great sweeping slider there by Zeppelin. And it is 1-2. Looking to have go 9 up, 9 down on this Seguin order, as he is 1 strike away from doing so. Seguin has yet to reach base since the 5th. And that one's grounded up the middle. Avalos there. Routine play in time. 9 up, 9 down for Blaine Zeppelin in his return back to the VIC after a couple of weeks off of vacation. We go back to the bottom of the 8th. One last chance for Victoria to add some offense when we come back here on TCL TV. Still up by 9 are the Jets. Back here for the bottom of the 8th inning, you see the upcoming promotions, of course. We've mentioned them throughout the night. Faith and Family Night with an appearance by Clay Crockett, a Nation of Believers, on Wednesday against Brazos Valley, and then the Thursday night Purple at the Park for the Alzheimer's Association with the purple-white uniforms and the Cane Cutters in town, sponsored by our friends at Edward Jones. We are back here for the bottom of the 8th inning. And a pinch hitter coming in here to bat for Dalton Mullins after his great 1-for-2 night, but coming to the bases, reaching base 3 times, having the 2 RBI single, and then scoring 3 times. It is James Benjamin who now comes in to pinch hit. A new man on the mound in Austin Noel, pitching here for the Sturs here in this bottom of the 8th in a 9-run game. A 1 is just low. 1-1 here, the count for Benjamin. Benjamin, in regards of the Generals so far this summer, 5 for 28 in 11 games, batting 179, 3 runs scored, 6 RBIs, 2 walks, and 10 punch-outs at the plate. 1-1 is just low again. 2-1 here for Benjamin. 1-1 here from Noel is grounded to the left side. Should be a routine play for Samaniego. Easy throw over and in time for out number 1 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Not a whole lot of offense. Going back to the bottom of the 5th, we've seen just 3 combined runners reach base on both sides. But Austin Noel now on the mound. The sophomore out of Dallas Eastfield is the college he is currently calling home, a native of Arlington. So a North Texas product at 6'3", 175. 5.40 ERA so far this summer in 2 appearances. And just 3 1/3 innings of work. Allowing 9 hits and 4 runs, only 2 of which were earned. And coming in, for the most part, in losses that were already out of hand. As that one's grounded over to the right side. Should be a routine play for Patrick McClellan, and it is. 2 ground outs here as Cameron Nickens grounds out to the right side. An opportunity here now for Mark Henning, as Henning comes back up to the dish. But for Noel, see if we can have more about Noel's backstory here for all of you. Noel, in his sophomore season at Dallas College Eastfield, 3-0 with a 4.53 ERA in 47 2/3 innings pitched. Only had 10 appearances in his freshman season in 2023. So certainly a much better year to say the least. 26 walks to 39 punchouts in a fairly solid year for the 6'3" right-hander from North Texas. Henning awaits his 0-1 here in this bottom of the 8th and 2 outs. 9-run lead for Victoria. Yet to score since the 4th. As the 0-1 is low, 0-2. And a strike away from a 1-2-3 inning is Noel. One strike away is Mark Henning. 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Grounded into the dirt, but a drop third strike to say the least. The Generals have been retired in 3 straight innings and have just had 2 base runners since the 5th. But we go to the 9th. Still a 9-run lead. Looks like a new man coming on the mound here for Victoria. We'll tell you who it is, replacing Glenn Zeppelin here in this 9th inning. 9-run lead. We come back here looking to shut the door and get their magic number to 2 when we come back for the Generals. So a little bit of standings context as we begin this 9th inning. Victoria on the verge of getting their magic number to 2. 12-6 is where they sit right now. We get to 13-6 if they get 3 more outs. It would put Seguin down to 4-14, but all 3 games possibly could end within the next 5-10 minutes. And these standings will look very, very different, possibly in that time span. Zach Ryan looking to shut the door for Victoria. He's the only third arm of the night for your Generals as he now comes in to shut the door here in this 9th inning. Ryan, a stellar summer so far, 1-0 with a 1.35 ERA in 5 appearances. Also has a save under his books. His last time out against these River Monsters, he's played against them twice, has thrown a combined 3 innings. No runs, no hits, has a save in his book, and also a strikeout, or 2 strikeouts, and a walk in 10 batters faced. Phase 4, 5, 6, just under the heart of the order for Seguin, with Logan Ham leading things off. As that second pitch is fouled just down the left field line. Ham tonight, 1 for 3 with an RBI single back in the first. We'll be giving you scoring updates as we get them. All 3 games are currently in the 9th inning right now. They also could be ending within any moment, so we'll give you the immediate updates once we get them. We have kind of a control center kind of up here where we're keeping in touch with all of the other games, as much our own as well. No 2 count though here for Ham here in Victoria. That's a cold strike 3, 1 away here in the 9th. Beautiful punch out there on the part of Ryan. The devastating circle change 12-6 curveball pitch to get Logan Ham as now Orlando Samaniego looks to be back up here, and he is. He's 0 for 3 on the night. He's been punched out twice. Back in the 1st and 6th, then is also flying out to left. That is high and upstairs for strike 1, 0-1. Score updates across the league. Lake Charles up 5-4 in the top of the 9th. Acadiana also up 4-2 in the top of the 9th. All 3 games in this half of the inning that we are in right now. Grounded to the left side. Avalos is there. Long throw to first in time. Generals 1 out away. Another great, spectacular defensive play by the UH Cougar infielder. And the final hope now for Seguin will be Hunter Ham, who is 1 for 3 on the night with a single back in the 4th. Generals 1 out away, and now Michael Oros going to come out here and chat with Zach Ryan. We'll see what the concerns are here. Kind of surprising to have some kind of mound meeting. It would only, I would assume, be for some kind of situation possibly involving maybe Ryan's health. We don't want to speculate anything, of course. I was now looking at the field when Ryan maybe gestured to have a mound meeting, but there is none. There's no one in the pen, no surprise. There's no one in either pen right now, as the Generals sent 1 out away in a 9-run ball game. Just a mound meeting here as the infield and Zach Ryan congregate on the mound, as Hunter Ham currently sits awaiting at the plate, and now home plate umpire Robert Browder going to try to break up this discussion and try to speed up the conclusion of this game. Yet to receive any final score updates, either here or on TCL TV. If you're just joining us from maybe one of the other 2 games, this is Max Cepeda here at Riverside Stadium. 11-2 is our scoreline. The Generals are 1 run away from getting their magic number to at least 2 in their quest for the #1 seed. First pitch from Ryan to Hunter Ham is on the inside half for strike 1. A slider that just drops in at the bottom of the zone. 0-1 is the count. 2 outs and 2 strikes in Lake Charles, so the Gators are 1 strike away. And out in Lafayette, 1 out in the top of the 9th, as that one's grounded just to the left side foul. So the first final we'll probably get is either going to be here or in Lake Charles. It's going to be one of the 2. We'll see what the first result that we get is, because we've yet to get a final score from either side. But 1 strike away, here are the Generals, looking for a 6th consecutive victory against the defending champs, as they try to complete their revenge from a summer ago with 6 wins in the last 9 days. Just below the knees, and that one's behind backstop Brock Knorr. So it's now a 1-2 count here for Ham. River Monsters, on the other hand, will fall to 4-14. Will be 8.5 games out of the lead. second consecutive season, Seguin has started their season 4-14. So if you're a River Monsters fan, while it may be despair for now, this is a movie that is very eerily similar to the title run we saw a summer ago. Ryan a strike away. Approves the sign from Noor. Straight up shift from the Victoria defense. 1-2's grounded up the middle. Right there is Mario Mendoza Jr., and he finishes the deal. The Victoria Generals sweep Seguin once again in a quick 2-game series here in Riverside as they finish it off with an 11-2 blowout victory. All 11 of their runs coming in the first 4 innings of play as they blow out Seguin by a final of 11-2 and advance to 13-6. You can see on your screen that Tony Perez and Michael Oros shaking hands there at home plate as the Sturs will head back to Smokey Joe Williams after a difficult road trip, to say the least, here in Victoria once again. They are now 2-15 all time in the regular season and postseason combined here in this ballpark. We'll give you some automatic updates. We have to work a little bit harder when it comes to updating the standings board because now we have to consider games back as well as a part of our standings. So we'll now show you the current standings as they sit right now. Victoria, Magic's number is now 2. They now are 13-6. Seguin has now fallen to 4-14. Yet to get any final score update out of Lake Charles. They are the ones who were just sitting a strike away just a minute ago. We'll see if either that broadcast has ended or such, and that broadcast has ended. So we can now update the standings now, as it looks like Michael Oros now given possibly a water bath, as with the victory, Victoria able to clinch at least one of the top 2 seeds. They've yet to clinch the number 1 seed. That's very important to note, as looks like holding a glass piece or a glass trophy is Cameron Nickens. And no surprise considering the electric night that he had, 3 for 4, or reaching base 3 times and scoring 3 times. So we'll update the standings right now. We'll do it right in front of you, as Lake Charles, with the victory against Brazos Valley, now goes to 11-8, and the Bombers go to 8-10. So when it comes to games back, the Bombers now fall to 4.5 games back the Generals, so they are now well out of it when it comes to claiming one of the top 2 seeds. So Victoria knows they'll at least be a top 2 seed. We have yet to get the final score from Baton Rouge. That game is still going on between them and the King Cutters. The magic number could get down to 1 if they fall to the King Cutters tonight. We have yet to receive the final score from that contest just yet. 4-2 was last the score that we checked with the King Cutters in front. The King Cutters might be holding on to dear life in that game. But now Lake Charles has tied things, at least for the moment, with Baton Rouge, as we'll show you that updated standings look. So that is currently where we sit right now, with a 4.5 game lead. That is why the Generals are celebrating a little bit more extra tonight, as they have now officially confirmed they will at least have home field advantage for one of the 2 playoff series, whether as the number 1 or the number 2. But they are very much on the verge of claiming that number 1, and especially can get that as the Pump It Up Blares here at the Riverside Stadium, here for the Riverside Stadium faithful, as they are very much pumped, as so are the fans as well. We've yet to receive as well the final numbers from tonight's game, or now we just did. Once again, 11-2 is the final score tonight. 11 runs on 8 hits, no errors for Victoria. 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors for Seguin. A contest that went 2 hours and 20 minutes, ending at 9:47 and starting around 7:10. So just around a 2-hour, 40-minute contest here and from the VIC. 7 runners left on for Victoria, 4 runners left on for Seguin. Ben Polisholtz, no surprise, gets the victory. And Ryan Jester, who only went 1 1/3, 1+ innings in the start, he will get the defeat once again against these Generals for the second time in the span of a week. So we have yet to get, we're going to try to see if we can possibly get the final score here from Baton Rouge and Acadiana. We have yet to officially get the confirmation from our friends in Acadiana. And as you can see through our standing screen, that the players are now doing a conga line around the base paths. And why not? Because they know they'll have at least home field advantage for one of the two series. And we must continue to confirm they have yet not to clinch the #1 seed. Don't fully celebrate just yet. The top 2 seed is very powerful in this league. Of course, the Generals had that #2 seed last summer. And of course, it did not end up going in their favor. So we have at least, I'm quickly just doing this right now before we sign off, just making sure we can see if the King Cutters have secured their victory. And no, they've not. Okay. So the Baton Rouge Rougarou are currently with 2 runners on, have a strike on the board, but they're down to their final out. As the King Cutters are currently in a situation now, we want to at least show you at least the standings, what they would look like, as we'll get the official result from Acadiana when you do. This is the current standings as you see it right now. This is the updated standings as you see it. We're going to try to give you the live updates as we can. If you want to, of course, see the Generals continue to celebrate at least clinching one of the top 2 seeds. But it is runners at first and second with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning. And with a King Cutters victory, the Generals' magic number to get the 1 seed will shrink down to 1, which means that either just one more Baton Rouge loss or one more Victoria victory will clinch them the #1 seed come the final week of July and first week of August. Again, final totals: 11 runs, 8 hits, no errors for Victoria, 2 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors on the part of Seguin, as they have now dropped 7 in a row. They are 4-14, as you see on your screen. 8.5 back out of the lead. Ryan Jester with the loss for Seguin. Ben Polischultz with the win. He is now 3-0, is Polischultz on the young summer. 3-1 is the count with 2 outs. I swear, we think this Baton Rouge game is going to end soon. If not, if they're able to reach base, we'll sign off for now. But that's grounded to the right side, and it looks like that will be a fielder's choice, and that will end the ball game. So here are the updated standings officially before we sign off, as the Acadiana King Cutters are now 10-10 with the victory. And Baton Rouge now falls to 10-8. They have split their 4-game series between the 2 locations, and with that victory for Acadiana, as you now see on your screen, we haven't updated the games back thing situation, but Victoria, now magic number, sits at 1. Either a Generals win or a Rougarou loss tomorrow. The Generals head to Acadiana tomorrow. If they claim one more victory, that's the easy path now to claim them the #1 seed. That's going to do it for us here from Riverside Stadium. Thank you for getting through all the technical difficulties with us on this Friday night, but want to thank all of our entire Generals intern crew that make this broadcast possible every night for you. But once again, my name is Max Cepeda, signing off from Riverside Stadium. Once again, the final score: Victoria 11, Seguin 2. 6 victories in the span of 9 days against the defending champs. Now 7 games over 500. Already a top 2 seed officially. Now on the verge of the #1 seed with 1 more win. We'll be back here at Riverside Stadium this coming Tuesday when the Bombers come to town. We'll see you then as the Generals head to Lafayette this weekend. We'll see you then on Tuesday, and good night from Riverside Stadium.